All right. Yeah, Salaki, I got cut off, so I have to do a part two. I don't know how to snip it back in there, but it's important for brothers to keep their composure, but also, just touching on, you know, what was said, with the dude Lou came up to our camp, and was basically, spewing, you know, I think he was at what Isaiah 49:6. Let me go get that. Let me see. I believe that's where he was at. Isaiah 49. I believe that's where he was at. Salaki, if I'm wrong. Yeah, it says, and he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, yet thou mayest be my salvation unto the ends of the earth. Now, he's thinking that the Gentiles, and this is where the disconnect always come in, that the Gentiles are these other nations. Which, if that was the case, that would be a complete contradiction to Isaiah 40 and 17, where it says all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. This is showing you what the Most High feel about these other nations. And he also says in Deuteronomy 7:6 that he chose the Israelites to be a special people above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. You know, and then Isaiah 14:1, it says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel." You see, it's a choice. He's choosing Israel over everybody. It was never a thing where all can be saved, all can be people of God. No, it was always about the Israelites. He says he will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. This is future prophecy. This has not happened yet, right? It says, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. See, now in the sense that these people are taking it in, he's saying that basically the strangers are these other nations. That's not the case. The strangers is the ones that took on other customs. The lost sheep of the house of Israel. They're going to come back, and they're going to be joint with us, and they're going to cleave unto the house of Jacob. It says, and now this is for the other nations, this is for the heathens. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. So in the land of the Lord, in the kingdom, you're going to be possessed as servants and handmaids. You're going to be slaves unto the Israelites. You're going to be slaves unto the Israelites. We're showing you that there ain't no salvation for you. You good now. The salvation is for the Israelites, and you're going to serve the Israelites. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all you heathens are going to serve the Israelites. The dude put on his title of his video, "Racist Cult." The Most High is racist. If the Most High wasn't racist, he wouldn't have destroyed the Tower of Babel. He wouldn't, Isaiah, Shalaki, Deuteronomy 7:6 wouldn't be there. He chose a nation, showing you that he's putting one over the other, and that's all it means to be racist, is to put your nation over the other nations. Back in Isaiah 14, it says, "And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." You see, who captives we were, who's in captivity right now? Who's going up and down the street talking about Black Lives Matter, and who's getting deported? Who's uh, um, go to the Native American Museum over there in DC, and see all the treaties that was made and broken, you know? and they shall rule over their oppressors. This is when Jacob sat down his sons, and he told them what was going to happen. You know, Gad should be overtaken, but he shall overcome in the last, roughly paraphrasing. You know, and Isaiah 14:2 links up with Revelation 13:9 right here. It says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You see, and the dude Lou said, "Show me in the scriptures where um, show me in the scriptures where Israelite can be is basically considered a Gentile." And we brought these scriptures up, and this is where we are saying how did he refute anything if he didn't deal with these actual scriptures? You know, all he was doing was fast talking, over talking brothers, causing confusion, and then on the side antagonizing brothers, trying to get them off their square, and including myself. But he didn't deal with any of these scriptures. 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, now con- concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. You see, ye were Gentiles. You know, not you. You are a Gentile. You were Gentiles. You know, it's talking. He's talking to the Israelites, saying that ye were Gentiles. You know, now when you go to the Maccabees, because what they do, like the Elder Yashawamba said, um, they completely skip the Greek captivity that the Israelites were in. You know, and that's why Mattathias was so pissed off, because he was even approached when you read it. And what is that, Maccabees 1 and 2? This is when because Mattathias was approached by the king, basically saying, "Look, I know you're a man of high stature, and these people follow you. All you got to do is bow to the king." And he was basically going to give him gifts. And Mattathias, this is First Maccabees 2:17. It says, "Then answered the king officers and said to Mattathias on the wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and a great man in the city, and strengthened with your sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like all the heathen have done, yeah, and the men of Judah also," showing you that the men of Judah basically became what we would consider Gentiles. They became heathens because they dropped their customs of being an Israelite, and they start following the king. And they're trying to get Mattathias to do the same thing. It says, "And such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards." Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, "Though all the nations that are under the king's rule, that are under the king's dominion, obey him, and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandment, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers." You see, walk in the covenant of our fathers. And then the Shatar Abad, he gave the actual point, which is earlier, of is up. Matter of fact, it's in the first chapter, where Israelites started to take on the customs of the Greeks, you know. And these are who this is what this is who Paul was sent to, you know, to talk to. That's why he said ye were Gentiles, you know. He's talking to the church that's turning back, you know. So basically, that's answering. The question was answered thoroughly, but he didn't want to deal with it, you know. So he didn't refute anything. He didn't. Brothers know, you know. But in order to do that, and in order to make it clear, you know, to the audience, brothers got to be in order. Brothers got to you know, yeah, just respect the order of camp. Hold your composure. You know, get your point across. You know, because again, this is prophecy. Somebody's going to be right, and as it says in Romans 3:3, it says, For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid. Yeah, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sins, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. You know, and that time is coming, man. That time is coming very, very soon. You know. So yeah, man, we gotta be wise. You know, Satan is sending his minions. We are in that time, man. You know, shit can pop off right away. You know, judgment is coming unto to all of our enemies. You know, judgment is coming to our enemies, and the Lord is gonna send forth his vengeance. You know, and there was more things that he said. It was more things that like he said, Edomite. Basically, he was saying an Edomite can be saved, but the man Esau himself can't be. You know, which if you read Ezekiel 25:14, that ain't true. You know, and there was other things that he said that is not popping in my head right now, but you know, Jake was refuted. He was confounded, and that shows you how disingenuous these Christians are. You know, especially that dude, man. You know, you see him selling T-shirts and you know, entertaining all the comments. He's talking all this shit. You know, he's a man of this world, and that's why the world love their own, man. You know, the brothers, brothers that are men of the Lord, brothers that are submerged in the baptism, you got to take heed unto what Yahweh Shah said is, in St. John 15. You get that real quick. Um, because we are in a time of persecution, you know, all the hell that's coming onto this place, the the famine, the death, the destruction, the pestilence, all of this, Jacob's trouble, that's coming for the 2/3. That's coming for the, the people of this world. But this is what's coming to the men of the Lord. It says, St. John 15:18, it says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you. If they have kept my sayings, they will keep yours also. You see? So this is all that's happening, man. You know, ain't no surprise of all the comments and the people talking shit. You know, brothers got to be prepared for that. You know, brothers got to be uh, 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 mentally ready to carry that cross. You know, like it says in Peter's. You know, what's that? First Peter's 4:12. It says, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trials which to try you, as some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. You know, and that's what we looking forward to, man. The Lord is going to come and protect us and save us, man. All we have to do is stay on our course, hold your composure, you know. Don't make the ministry look bad, you know, and keep on giving yourself as a living sacrifice to Yahweh Bashem Shah, you know. So like I said, there's gonna be multiple topics, man. Salakia for the cut in the video. But you know, Lord's willing, this was edifying to the elect. To the next one, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Arachak Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. Shalom to the elect.